what drives consumer behavior, what drives them to perhaps take to online shopping. And one of the reasons that stood out in that report is the ease with which you get things at home.
Yep.
And since we're talking about ease with which you get things at home, it's good news coming in by the way of online grocery delivery platform Zepto, which has now raised $200 million in Series E fundraising, valuing the company at $1.4 billion and making it the first unicorn of 2023. The fundraising was in fact led by US-based private markets investment firm Stepstone Group. Now Zepto was in fact set up, remember Stepstone was set up in the aftermath of the pandemic. The investment also marks Stepstone's first direct investment in an Indian company, so essentially their India foray. Now Zepto has raised $200 million in a Series D funding round led by American technology startup Accelerator in 2022. Back then, the company was valued at $900 million. From 22 to 23, India gets its first unicorn by the way of Zepto.
Exactly 11 months after the last unicorn, which came in September 2022. So yeah, congratulations to Team Zepto. I think this was one brand that stood a good part of urban India through and held it well during the pandemic. Online deliveries and quick commerce per se was a segment that was really being adopted very, very aggressively because nobody was going out and this was classified as essential services, and hence Zepto delivering not just, groceries, but also picking up and taking other parcels and other essential goods from one place to another. So I think great news coming by way of at least number one, some early signs, maybe if I could assume, of the funding winter thawing.
Okay.
So it has been a fairly chilly, nail-biting, bone-chilling funding winter for Indian startups. We've seen what's happened with Byju's. We've seen what happened with Swiggy. We've seen so many startups being undervalued and devalued and their valuation actually being slashed by billions of dollars. And this is at least some sense of positivity coming into the Indian startup ecosystem after a fairly long funding winter. So good news there, and let's just hope that we see at least another few unicorns emerging this year. Not that unicorn is per se a great sort of, absolute value of $1 billion or something. I think there's a great sentiment attached to it. So between 2021 and 2022, on an average, India added almost one unicorn a week. We had 44 unicorns added in 52 weeks, and look what happened in the last 11 months. This is the first story really coming out.
All right, so signs of funding winter, and borrowing from Kartik's words, thawing there perhaps, and this could lead to perhaps more potential businesses turning unicorn. We don't know, but we are just hopeful. Zepto there, in a very positive note, has kick-started that story for India.